everybody. I'm Ken. I'm the new guy. I'm the Interim Executive Director of the North Carolina Outward Bound School. And before I get started, I'd love to share with you where I came from, who I am, my values, and how I want to lead the school. But my background is this. I'm a fourth generation Floridian, born and raised in Gainesville, Florida. If you know anything about Florida, I left Gainesville and went to Florida State, where I went there for undergrad and law school. And then after law school, I served 3 years as a Marine officer. I was a judge advocate. My stepfather was in Vietnam and served as a Marine, and he did 2 tours in Vietnam. And his influence, influenced me to serve as a Marine and give back to our country. Then, after 3 years of service, I was a federal prosecutor for about 8 years. And then after the crisis of 9/11, I was appointed by the President and confirmed by the United States Senate to be the Assistant Secretary of Enforcement in the Department of Treasury, where we focus on blocking funds to deal with terrorism and terrorist financing, and oversaw 5 federal law enforcement bureaus. I also worked at TSA, worked on airport security issues, and then I was in Indonesia for about 3 years while the Indonesian government fight terrorist financing and anti-money laundering. Worked for a company for 3 years after Indonesia. And then in Florida, got appointed by 2 governors to serve in 3 leadership positions for about 10 years, where I led 3 large agencies where I had to motivate people, serve the people of Florida, and make sure as a servant leader, I was giving back to my state. And now, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, let me tell you. You know why? Because right now, seriously, I'm the Interim Executive Director of the North Carolina Outward Bound School during a time of change, where I get to be the bridge from the past to the future, and work with everybody involved in the school and the Outward Bound family. And it's just such a pleasure and such an honor and a responsibility, and just have a gracious heart for this opportunity. My role as the Interim Executive Director of the North Carolina Outward Bound School is to serve as a bridge between our previous Executive Director and our future Executive Director. During this time of crisis with COVID that's happened across the world, our country, our state, and our community, ensuring that our staff and students are safe. And also with safety, ensuring that we are adapting and evolving during this time of our course load. Not just bringing the wilderness to those who are come to our school, but creating new course offerings such as virtual programming. That's so exciting, encouraging students and reaching out in a new creative way. But as we do this, make sure that with everything we have to offer, whether it's Table Rock, Cedar Rock, town office, that we are financially sound, not just in 2020, but 2021, and moving on to the future. That's my role as a leader of this wonderful organization. When I went to law school back in the late 80s, I was a law clerk to Bob Cox. He was on the Hurricane Island Board of Directors and also the North Carolina Outward Bound School Board of Directors. As his law clerk, he had a copy of the readings that I would steal from his office and read regularly. And then he would talk to me about the importance of Outward Bound, how to help people find themselves, realize there's more to themselves, also to help others. And then back in 2014, he and I went on a Northwest Outward Bound School adventure, climbing Mount Rainier. And he had tried climbing it, reaching the summit, twice and failed. So I helped him train. And then he and I reached the summit together. And through that Outward Bound experience with Outward Bound instructors, a range of people from age 17 to 68, I learned more about myself, more about giving, pushing myself, and seeing the value of Outward Bound. And then I took his place on the board of directors for the North Carolina Outward Bound School. In the last 6 years, I've learned how important the school is to helping people find themselves and reclaim their spirits. I've been on the board 6 years, but I gotta tell you the things I'm looking forward to learning as the interim executive director versus a board member. And for me, it's really understanding the business of a North Carolina outward bound school. And that means this: for our staff that are and our instructors who are leading these students into the wilderness, understanding firsthand the tensions our staff and instructors are facing. What does it mean to book a course for these students? What does it mean to be out in the wilderness and dealing with the students' needs, fears, and concerns, right? And ensuring that I, as a leader, am providing what our instructors and staff need so they can do their jobs. On the board, you hear about this, but it's different hearing about it versus seeing it firsthand, experiencing it, and helping to solve any issues and problems that exist. And secondly, on the business side, really understanding the finances. I mean, Table Rock, the town office, beautiful. My very first day, I came to the town office. I sat down, like I call the amphitheater, and then saw the Old Sam's trail sign and saw the trees, felt the wind. It was like a spiritual experience for me. I started crying, right? But the practical side to me said, this costs a lot of money to keep up. All right, what do I have to do to make sure we have the financial resources to keep the school not just open, but thriving? So as a leader, those two things, understanding the tensions and feelings of our staff so they can do their jobs, and ensuring that we have the financial resources to keep this thing going for decades, those two things are so important to me as the interim executive director for the North Carolina Outward Bound School. What I see in the next 6 months in terms of programming, really expanding our virtual programs. I mean, we've been teasing that out, and I think we've gotten a great response. As we continue building from that program, along with our legacy programs, I think we'll see a good mix how we can plan for not just the next 6 months, but next year or 2 years. And then we evolve our programming. That means we touch more hearts and minds. And also expand our donor base too. Hey, let me tell you what my role is in diversity and inclusion. And let me be very frank about it. I'm African American, all right, born and raised in Florida. So therefore, I've seen my own personal challenges. But I recognize that my personal experience cannot, guide my actions as a leader. That means I have to constantly learn and grow and expand. And just as I grow, just as I expand and evolve, the school has to do so. And that means as a leader of this organization, holding our team to the standard of increasing training, increasing their sensitivity, knowing that, our core values is about being open to everyone, ensuring that everyone can speak their minds, but in a responsible way. And we take those thoughts and ideals and actively listen to them, but not just listen, but evaluate, incorporate, and expand how we do our business. Because our school is about empowerment. It's not about putting people down, but it's ensuring that people can grow, develop, and expand as human beings. As a leader of this organization, diversity and inclusion are so important to me, and ensuring that we practice these things, not just give lip service to these issues that are so important in today's world and moving forward. All right, my favorite way to spend a day off, especially on Wednesdays, is Comic Book Wednesday. Since 1969, I've been buying comic books. And every Wednesday, I go to the comic book store and I get new comic books. And back when I had a bicycle when I was a kid, I would get knee-high grape soda and then some cheese and crackers and read new comic books. Now, as a grown man, I still buy the comic books. Maybe have some sangria and also, maybe a chicken salad sandwich. And I sit in my house and I drink my sangria, eat my chicken salad sandwich, and read my new comic books. That's a great day. I love getting outside and exercising. I've been doing it for decades. You know, I was that kid back in middle school who was skinny and audacious, and then started lifting weights and running. And I continue that to the present day at 55, where I lift weights 3 times a week. I run on bad knees, but I love putting on a pack and going hiking and just feeling the fresh air on my face. And also I bicycle. You know, in Tallahassee, where I last lived in Florida, there's a trail, St. Mark's Trail, which is 32 miles. And I'll get on my bicycle and just grind away and just release the tension and feel the fresh air. But constantly physically challenging myself and ensuring that I'm healthy and strong, and just being part of the outdoors is so important to my lifestyle. The last book I've completed is Lovecraft Country. I don't know if you've watching the show on HBO, but there's a great book that came out years ago. In fact, when I was in Asheville about 3 years ago, I picked up a copy. And what's wonderful about the book, it's set in the 1950s, and it uses science fiction horror to deal with racism. And then it talks about, you know, the values of the African-American community and dealing with, you know, just racism, creativity, and finding your own path and own voice. And when you read the book versus the TV show, you understand, you know, those tensions that maybe existed in the past still exist in some ways now. Therefore, understanding diverse, you know, views, different cultures, and realizing that you are part of something bigger than yourself. And you have a right to be involved with any discussion and the path for not just our country, our state, our community, our organization is so important. So Lovecraft Country is a great, you know, kind of fictional allegory for those issues that we're facing in our country now. In this new position for me, I know that I got a lot to learn. And that means reaching out to our North Carolina Outward Bound family, you know, current staff, alumni, you know, our donors, and just people who are in the family, you know, who are indirectly involved. But this is the thing about leadership. You can't assume because you have a title, you know it all. You gotta have a humble heart. And my goal is to reach out throughout, you know, the network to learn how to serve our people, our organization, and evolve towards the future. And I'm really excited about that challenge and that chance to connect. And every chance I get, whether, you know, it's the initial meeting I had with, you know, all staff or just talking to someone one-on-one, it's important that I share my phone number so you can call me directly. You know, whether you have a question about what we're doing, when enroll in one of our courses, or if you want to give some money to the school, all right? But my number is 813-751-9899. Text me, call me. But it's so important, because bottom line is this: while I'm here as a bridge for our school, our family, gotta be open. So call me, 813-751-9899. Hey everybody, let me tell you something. I just enjoyed this opportunity to connect with you. You know, although it's by, you know, video, you may be seeing me on Facebook, social media, wherever. It's about us connecting. And I really enjoy this privilege to be able to connect with you in this moment. And you and I, we're gonna connect in the future, whether you call me directly, where you come to the town office, or I travel to see you where you're located. What we have is a bond right now. And I want to build on our bond, our connection to the North Carolina Outward Bound School to ensure that we are helping those who seek to thrive, grow, evolve, and love themselves and others. Have a great day.